very good morning. The day is bright, sweet, cool, and friendly to do anything that one ought to do to progress, to develop himself at the same time, the society, the community, and Nigeria in general. This is Gombe State Media Corporation, GMC-TV. The program is Good Morning Nigeria and Good Morning Gombe. We have a very big fish today in the studio. A very mighty one, in fact, the Oga at the top. We are lucky. To God be the glory. I want to believe after this program, through him, we will be opportune to be getting some of our who and who, the top and pump pageantries that are working in different federal characters and offices in Abuja, so that they can come to the studio. Who can go to the parties if they wish. Let's discuss and see how we move Gombe forward at the same time, Nigeria. I will not tell you the name of the person yet, but I will do that because it's mandatory for me to do so in a jiffy. But before that, I have our usual public analyst in the studio, in person of Mr. Daniel Agbo. Daniel Agbo is the public analyst. Daniel, any trending news before we dive down to our major subject matter?
Good morning, Gombe. I think what's trending so far is the issue of Abba Kabir Yusuf, alias Abba Gida, the governor of Kano State, defecting to APC. That is what is really causing a big trend in the country now so far. And in the language of his former boss, Larry Musa, he said that is the mother of all betrayal so far in the country. Betrayal.
What about Abuja Wiki? Any problem? Any news?
Abuja Wiki, I think the BOA is still on. The court yesterday called for the workers to go back to work since the case is still in court. But I think Labour is refusing and insisting on that the workers should stay their stand and still continue with their strike.
Now, Gombe, any good news about, I had development strike and moving towards to take.
Oh, fantastic. Gombe is always ahead, like, let me use that military language. They're always ahead. You can see our 3-arm zone development is so much in place. Yesterday the director of press government has posted the pictures on social media, and the place is looking so fantastic already, even when it has not gotten to 50% development yet, and it's looking great.
Are you aware that almost 6 to 7 schools, Governor makes it mandatory that all mega schools within those local governments should have a 32 coppers lodge, so that coppers can sit down, be comfortable and to do their generation that are coming up
to do their job. And apart from that, one fantastic yes, one fantastic stride also the media has not talked about so much because about Ima was initially people were always saying he was developing so much, just basing so much on infrastructural development without empowering the people. But recently he awarded some contracts on renovation and the school, which is given to some local contractors, about 500 of them. You see, that is going to create a lot of empowerment among the local people, because that has been the cry of the people.
Thank you very much. That 1 minute, 2 minutes is working for some of the recent current development going on in Nigeria at the same time, Gombe State. We have Dr. Alhaji Ibrahim Dazuki, Arabi Director General Bureau of Public Service Reform. I have a letter, not a letter, some letters that I cannot define what it means, but I will opportune the gentleman that happens to be in our studio that is even giving me joy. Is interview with some of the principal personnel, the big shot, the dudes. It's a joy. Once in a while, we can get them in the studio. It's applause to the station at the same time, Gombe generally. Sir, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning. Good morning, Gombe. Good morning, Nigeria.
I hope I've not made any mistake in addressing your office at the same time your name.
No.
If I have done, I'll give you 1 minute 30 seconds to explain yourself fully in a nutshell, both your biography at the same time your origin.
Thank you very much. I want to most sincerely thank the leadership of GMC-TV for accepting to host me along with my team from the Bureau of Public Service Reforms. And these are some of the things that our agency have been calling for, giving federal government the space to work with the states and local governments so that we understand each other and we can see how our reform can cascade down to the states. My name is Ibrahim Dasuki Arabi. I'm Director General, Bureau of Public Service Reforms. I've been at the helm of affairs for some years. I was there first as an assistant director, deputy director, then when my Director General's tenure ended, Dr. Joe Abba, there was that call for me to step in as Director General. That was the first time that we had a civil servant being appointed into the position of a Director General within an organization. So what happened there is a sample of mentorship and succession planning within the organization. I didn't want to become Director General. I wanted to become a permanent secretary, head of civil service of the Federation. That has been my ambition. Unfortunately, this call came, and that is what God has planned. Yes. In any case, I'm not regretting this opportunity. I remain very grateful to government and to Nigerians for giving me this space to work as Director General, leading reforms at the federal level. And if I'm given the chance to come again live, I will come in as a reformer and struggle to become Director General of a reform agency like our own. I have attended over 700 seminars and workshops, and I presented over 11,000 papers, seminar workshops in universities within and outside Nigeria, and conferences within and outside Nigeria. And I'm working with quite a number of universities outside Nigeria to either facilitate seminars, workshops, or to present the scorecard on what Nigeria have done in the last 20 years in terms of reforming its public service. The Bureau is located under the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, and we have two agencies that are managing us, which I may call our Board of Directors. The first one is the National Council on Reforms, that is chaired by the President and Commander-in-Chief. The second one is the Steering Committee on Reforms, that is chaired by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, assisted by the Head of Civil Service of the Federation. In a nutshell, this is the Bureau. I always like to soft pedal or discussing who I am. I want history, posterity, and my work to say who I am possibly after I've left office. Thank you.
Doctor, you have condensed, in a nutshell, one or two of the major activities of the Bureau. But can you explain in the simple terms for general public to understand what is that Bureau saddled with to augment and to carry Nigeria along, and what does Nigeria tend to benefit?
Well, thank you very much. In simple terms, we are called BPSR. Okay. If we expand, we are called the Bureau of Public Service Reforms. The Bureau was set up in 2004 after the Kuru Declaration. Kuru Declaration was a seminar, workshop organized by His Excellency President Olusegun Obasanjo in National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies to say, okay, we have come in as a civilian government after many years of military rule. And issues are there, problems are there all over. So he brought whoever was in Nigeria, from local government to states, the university, diaspora, to say we need to change the direction of Nigeria. And at the end of the day, it was agreed that one of the first things that we needed to do was to have a more efficient public service. So the Bureau of Public Service Reforms was created to initiate reforms, to drive reforms, to monitor reforms, and to engage and provide information on reform activities of ministries, departments, and agencies of government. Now, that is why you've seen us directly under the National Council on Reforms, and the office of the secretary to the government, so that to give ownership and power to decisions taken by our office. Now, we have what we call the Steering Committee on Reforms, and Steering Committee on Reforms has membership from the SGF, the head of service, some permanent secretaries, director generals, chairman, National Assembly Service Commission, and the National Judiciary Council. The office is small in size, but we work with what we call IMTT. So for any work that we are doing, we get people from different parts of the public service to constitute the IMTT, so that by the time we come up with decisions and policies, and they find it on their desk, they are beforehand, they are aware of it, so implementation becomes very easy, and they own the process. So whatever comes out of the Bureau is a product of the National Council of Reforms, Steering Committee of Reforms, the IMTT, and the entire public service. So we initiate, but we don't implement. So what we initiate, we send to the ministries, departments, and agencies of government, and they are expected to go by our recommendations. They implement, but we go back and do studies. So that's why we do impact assessment, perception surveys, not only in Abuja, in the entire federation. Example, we came to Gombe to do a perception survey on power reforms, and in some places like Beleri, they say they are not aware of any power reforms. Now, what that has shown us is we are doing some work, but we need to engage. We need to get citizens to understand that we are there, we are doing this work, and it's meant for them. So one of the missions or visions or the objective of citizens is to engage with the citizen. You are aware that Nigeria have signed on to the OGP, Open Government Partnership. Open Government Partnership is built on the bedrock of engagements like this, engagement with civil society, so that they participate in government directly or indirectly. The OGP law also comes with the Freedom of Information law in Nigeria, which makes it mandatory for people like me to proactively provide information on activities of BPSR and activities of ministries, departments, and agencies of government. So what we do again is to make sure that we get ministries, departments, and agencies of government to key into all international commitments of Nigeria, to provide information on what we are doing. So we have what we call something that is related to you. There are two projects that are doing. One is called Scorecard for ranking of websites of ministries, departments, and agencies of government. With digitalization, we've now come to understand that your face is reflected on your website. So we expect you to provide information, your mission, your vision, your leadership, your staff, your recruitment process, your procurement process, how much has been allocated to you, how much you have utilized, and you are expected to have a portal on your website that will say, if somebody from Beleri says, Beleri local government received 200 million naira allocation from the state government, Beleri local government should be able to place that on their website, indicate and show evidence of utilization of those resources. What the head of media of His Excellency the Governor is doing, Ismaila, is in tandem with the work that we are doing, provide information, engage. So these are the things, some of the things that we've done over the years. I don't know whether this is the right time to further deepen our discussion to say, okay, what have we done?
Yes, Dr. Sir, I don't know whether it was during your time this reform was carried out, but there are two reforms I'm going to ask you about now, if it was during your tenure. A couple of years ago, we have this department that we attached to most federal organizations, most states, called Servicom. I don't know if your organization was the one that gave birth to Servicom. That is one. Then secondly, initially, the participation of civil servants in politics was being limited. But a couple of years ago, too, again, I saw that they were giving some level of permission to register and be active members of political movements also. Was that part of your reform?
Well, thank you very much, my brother. I don't know why Benue people are around me. One of my technical assistants, Mr. Felix, is his brother, and I'm here in my village talking to a Benue man. Now, this is just an indication to say that Nigeria is great, and we should open our hands to work as a team, as a nation. Now, the Kuru Declaration gave birth to Bureau of Public Service Reforms and Savicom. Now, what we do is to conduct research, come up with best reform initiatives to improve efficiency and effectiveness of the public service. Savicom is there to look at service failure, service delivery, and performance. So where Savicom ends its work, we take its report and say, okay, people are coming to work late in Gombe State. That is the report coming from Savicom Gombe State by assumption. And BPSA will say, okay, the best way to do that is to see how we can digitally monitor, clock in and clock out when people come to work.
Like we have in Gombe State now.
Yes, and like the biometric that you have in Gombe. So we work hand in hand with Savicom. And Savicom in the ministries is supposed to be working under BPSA. Because what we have is every MD was directed by a circular to create or establish Department of Reforms and Service Improvement. And under the department, you have two units, Savicom and Reforms. So these are the things. On politics, I would like your pardon to allow me not to discuss politics. I'm not interested. But the law is clear. If you are a civil servant, you cannot be a politician directly or indirectly. If you are a public servant, like His Excellency, the Governor of Gombe State, is a public servant, he can play his own politics by his position.
But in your foundation talk, when we are talking about what brought about Obasanjo establishing, you say it was the public bill was established because it has to carry Nigerians from all sectors of life to come together to forge ahead how the country will go. If you don't allow them participate, you don't allow them be the part of process of leadership in their country, how is that? Do you think that is justifiable?
Well, I think let me come on that. You can't play two games with two heads, and you are a human being with one head. If you a public servant or a civil servant is supposed to be apolitical, is supposed to be neutral, is supposed to be objective. If you are allowing them to play politics, they cannot be objective. They are in tune, their interests, where they want to go, that is where they'll push themselves.
So they're supposed to just vote?
Yes, they are supposed to vote. But if you want to play politics as a civil servant, the law is clear. You step aside, you play politics, and the experience you have. But there is a synergy between the civil service and the public service and the entire populace. And that is why you see in my explanation, in my introduction, I said in the steering committee we have the legislative, the executive, and the judicial arm of government, all working with the Bureau of Public Service Reforms. And you know, politicians are public servants once they are elected. So whatever we do, we work with the National Assembly, the Senate, House of Reps, the governors, the ministers, the commissioners, and even to the local governments and councillors in some states.
Sir, we are lucky you are from Gombe State. It seems some of the state bureau are not that functioning based on your earlier assertion of drive reform and other issues that goes along through your point that you made earlier.
Yes. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't want to condemn the states, but we have clear instruction and mandates to make sure that the reforms we introduce cascade to the states and local governments. And we are happy to inform our audience and you that we have some 4 states that have bureaus of public service reforms.
4?
Yeah.
Out of 36?
Yeah, we have Gombe, we have Kaduna, we have Ogun State, and we have Lagos State. Now, Lagos State, what they have is, they call it the Down Commission. They refuse to call it Bureau of Public Service Reforms. Now, the Down Commission covers public service reforms in Lagos and all the states in Southwest. It was true that we got through to Ogun State, and we are working with other states in the Southwest to establish their own bureaus of public service reforms. The good thing there is the reforms we are introducing, or we've introduced over the years, have succeeded in unbundling the public service, improving efficiency and transparency, and by that you produce your report card, your story, and that attracts development partners to come. We really remain grateful to His Excellency the Governor of Gombe State, Mohammed Inuaha, for we came here on a visit to congratulate him and say congrats on your election, and I said please establish Bureau of Public Service Reforms. And when he came to respond, he said, I hereby authorize the establishment of Gombe State Bureau of Public Service Reforms. That single action brought development partners from every part of the world to Gombe State. That single act sent a message to the people of Gombe State, especially the public servants, that change is on the way. Change is coming. Things will never be the same. Now we have seen the tremendous improvement in quality of public service, increase in value in revenue generated. Yesterday I was just saying that there is a 500% increase in internet generated revenue by Gombe State, over 40 billion or so. These are all impacts of public service reform. So the agency here is working very close with us. The permanent secretary is doing very well. We have done quite a lot of work with them, and the state government have introduced quite a number of reforms. And you can see that the PEVEC award was won by them. A number of awards on GovTech technology, adoption,
ease of doing business.
They are all won by Gombe State, and you see Kaduna, Ogun, and Lagos State. These 4 states. Now, while the states have not created bureaus of public service reforms, we have seen that quite a number of them have adopted some of the things that we have introduced. Now, example is revenue generation. Virtually all the states have reformed their internal revenue agency. They have digitalized the process. They have digitalized their payroll system. Public financial management has been digitalized in almost all the states. So we are telling them not to stay behind. They should follow the example of His Excellency Governor Inuaha of Gombe State, establish the institution. Before BPSR was created, before what we call the 1999 public service reforms, there have been 15 public service reforms before the creation of Nigeria in Nigeria. But if you look for information on those activities, you hardly find them. But from 1999 to date, you go to the website of Bureau of Public Service Reforms in Abuja, you get the information, you visit, not only the information, we'll give you evidence, we'll give you reports, we'll even give you documents that you carry to your library. So there is a central ownership, there is a data and depository authority managing reforms on behalf of Nigeria. And this is what we want the states to institutionalize for continuity and for reference.
Now you talk about payroll. Now the issue of this payroll and even salary increment, does it has any link with the bureau? And if it does, you earlier said you are only to suggest and recommend, but you are not in power to implement. Now, do you have room or window to pursue for implementation?
Yes. Policies of BPSR, directions given by BPSR become policies based on the circulars issued either by the secretary to the government or the head of civil service of the Federation. Now, when we came on board as the bureau, we looked at the entire public service and said, what are the issues, what do we need to address? The first one was funds to drive government. So that was when we led the Federal Inland Revenue Service reforms. If you remember, those days they became paperless. A lot of changes happened around internal revenue offices. Or
the remitter was introduced.
Yes, remitters. The second one was to look at the civil service, and we said it was overbloated. There are some cadre of officers that didn't have to be there because the system is evolving. Public service has DNA just like me and you, and that DNA changes over time. So, example, we said, do we need secretaries in ministries? I am my own secretary. I type my letters. I do my preparations for my presentations. I post letters. I do everything electronically. Why not everybody? And that was why we said, okay, secretary cadre should be cancelled. But then, not to draw people outside, we said, let them go for training. Those that are able to pass, will upgrade them.
Okay.
And quite a number of them have upgraded to become data officers. In fact, the team that we came with, one of the officers driving the process is a secretary that became a data officer, and he's doing excellently well. Now, not only reducing the size of the service, but to say, how do we improve the condition of service? If you remember, there was a time when we said at the federal level, consolidated salary, where salary package was increased, it was brought together, and beyond that we said government was spending too much money in maintaining houses, vehicles. Then the monetization policy came on board, where houses were sold out, vehicles were auctioned to public servants, and a lot of things changed. But then, just as I said, the DNA is changing. The reforms that we created or we started have developed over the years, now over 20 years. Now problems are coming up. Let me give you an example. When we did the pension reforms, we wanted to stop the problems that I think you will know better, where retirees will go to the federal secretariat, some of them will die in the corridor waiting for their pension. Now, we wanted to address that. PENCOM came on board. As at that time, we had addressed that problem and people were celebrating. Now, we are getting into another stage where pension fund administrators are not able to pay in good time, a lot of issues. So
that is an issue that happens with
the police PENCOM something.
Yeah. So the changes as at that time have resolved the problems we wanted, but other changes are coming.
That's why you talked about the DNA changing.
Yeah, so the same thing with salaries, because the system is changing, the world is changing, and I want to inform you that the federal government have set up a committee that has been working around reviewing salaries, conditions of service of public servants, and we're hoping that something good will come out of it. But if you look at the Renew Hope agenda, one of the legs of that is discussing welfare of citizens, welfare of people working for government. So I'm hopeful that something positive will come in that direction.
Sir, in the course of your answering his question on Bureau of Public Enterprise being established in various states, you mentioned two things that really caught my attention. Good for audience to know about it. You said establishment of such branch bureau office in states attracts investment and development partner. How and why?
Okay, now I don't want to say we're the most credible organization at the federal level, but I'm here today. If you go to my office and you say, how much was released to you as budget 2025? How much have you utilized? Who are the beneficiaries? Can you show us evidence? My staff will show you without me. So there is transparency, there is accountability, there is evidence of utilization of resources. And this is what development partners
want. Yes,
they are looking for transparency, they are looking for accountability. So anytime they ask, what have you done with the superb allocation of 200 million that came to Gombe State? We are remodeling 6 special schools in Beleri, in Kaltungo, in Nafada, in Funaka. You can go and see them. Use of technology improves transparency, accountability, and it opens the public service. At the federal level, there is no hiding place for anybody that wants to hide. One of the reforms we introduced, first, the reforms that we're introducing, build around what we call the National Strategy on Public Service Reforms. This is our coordinating mechanism for the work that we've been doing over the years. And every 3 years, because the DNA is changing, the strategy is being revised every 3 years by everybody at the federal level, not only us, including civil society. Now, we came up with 4 pillars. Pillar 1 is looking at governance and environment. So I'm very glad when I came in, I saw this place is changing. Governance, and that pillar is looking at how clean your office is.
Yes.
How friendly is it for your guests, your customers that are coming, but most importantly, how transparent are you?
So why do you think the other states are skeptical about establishing their office?
Well, I don't know, but some of the governors that spoke to me directly said they don't want to create another expenditure outlet because they think it's expensive. Now, Bureau of Public Service Reforms.
Let's pick this guy. Yeah, who's on the line, please? Hello? Speaking, calling from where, please? Maybe it's that. Viewers, don't worry, we will opportunity to talk. By the time we are done with our discussion, we'll definitely give you some minutes. But for now, you can hold it for a while. Transmission director, if you don't mind, take up the numbers. By the time it's 5 minutes to go, we give them the line to communicate with us. That is if they want to do so. Sir, you are making a point.
Yes. So, transparency, accountability is the backbone of Pillar 1 of the National Strategy of Public Service Reforms. If you are looking for data, for information on Nigeria, you go to Google. It will take you to either World Bank, OECD, or United Nations. But by being transparent, being accountable, we are writing our own history. We are providing our own data. I've seen what the media DG of the governor is doing, documenting and providing evidence.
He's very good at that.
Now, development partners, civil society are looking for that, and they're always attracted by that. And once you digitalize, you open it, you give them evidence, they'll come. Now, Pillar 2 of the National Strategy of Public Service Reform says we must have a development plan. For many years, Nigeria didn't have a development plan. BPSI came and said we must have one. And the recent one just ended up in 2025. And we're glad that based on our workings with Gombe State and our relationship, Gombe State developed its own Gombe State Development Plan. Pillar 3 is looking at public financial management, addressing corruption, improving transparency, and that is where our office created Treasury Single Account, Government Financial Integrated Management Information System, IPPIs, BVN, etc., etc. Before this time, if this man will ask me for my account number, I'll just give him, and he can send anything into my account. Today, he asked me, I will not give him, because if my salary is 200 naira and 2 million comes into my account, through the reforms that we have done, somebody will see it, and he will ask you what has happened. So, Pillar 4,
and that get back to the idea of Ghana must go among system.
So that list is leading us to cashless policy, paperless policy, etc. Then Pillar 4 has looked at the civil service itself, and that was why we came up with performance management, succession planning, holding people accountable. So when in Gombe State, I hear people saying biometric is causing trouble for them, I smile, because by the time we deepen the adoption of performance management in the states, every individual that works for government will have KPIs, will have standard operating procedure. As an agency, you have target, and your performance will be assessed electronically based on what you have done and the results you have delivered.
Just like the organized private sector.
Yes, so this is what we have started at the federal level, and we hope the states are going to do that. So gone will be those days that you just sit there in your house and salary will be paid. Or you go to your office, you refuse to do anything, because there are things that you are expected to do, and the results will ensure your continuity to stay and exist within.
So this is a red line for those crying about the biometrics movement that are tougher times ahead.
Exactly, that is actual. So before we open our line for our viewers, because we have just 10 to 15 minutes to go,
so
you talk about you talk about the Renew Hope agenda. Now, Gombe particularly, civil servants, businessmen, contractors, and what have you. Likewise, farmers and all sectors of development that co-opt to move Gombe to where we are now are commending Governor Inuaya. Practically, in fact, even those that can't see, that walk on the street of Kolta usually say, but they walk freely without chaos, no problem. But the major problem is this issue of human capital development. That it is coming, but it is not coming as expected. And like you said, the Renew Hope agenda. And this governance or this particular government on board has just, in fact, the campaign has already started. Now, do we see any hope for the common man, the civil servant, the ordinary, based on those reforms that we have already enumerated? Because that is what the ordinary civil servant, the common man, the peasant farming, those in the village, our local people are waiting to see.
Well, the first thing I think I want to say is to commend the governor for the deliberate moves he has made to address issues of education. When you are talking of human capital, you are talking of human resource that drive public service. Public service, not only local government or state, but even at the federal. So the direction he has taken, improving schools, setting up special schools, improving the salaries of teachers and their condition of service, I think is the first grade that we've gone. Secondly, I've seen a lot of improvements coming in the State University and the Lincoln University that is in Akko and other federal institutions that are coming up. But I think we need to do more as a state to have more schools, to have virtually everybody going to school from nursery, primary school, secondary school, and university, so that we develop and produce the manpower that will drive our service. The bad news for us is AI and Internet of Things is coming to give machines the privilege to do some of the work that you are doing. So unless we are able to send our children to school, get them equipped with the modern skills, you have somebody sitting down in India running Gombe State Civil Service. Because there are services that are now outsourced, there are services that are rendered by machines, and some of these machines are not near us.
The remote sensor system of working now too from your house.
Yes, so getting universities improved, getting our children, our brothers, our sisters to understand the importance of education is very, very important. By extension, those that have graduated that are already in service need to be reskilled and upskilled. Unless you are reskilled and upskilled, you'll not be able to work on this seat in the next 5 years.
Yes.
Because the changes that are going to unfold in the next 5 years will have us as managers managing more of machines than human beings. But you'll be able to work with the machines if you are retrained and trained. And I've seen that the governor have listened to that, because most of the seminars, the workshops, the conferences that we have brought here, he sends in delegates from Gombe State to attend that. And I have been privileged to participate in the induction programs for commissioners, permanent secretaries, local government chairmen, and quite a number of seminars we've done. And these are all avenues created by government to reskill and upskill. Now, if you have a reskill and upskill public servant that is conscious of why he is where he is, and he has what it takes to deliver, then he doesn't have any option than to provide the best of services. We just spoke with the Director General GMC. I said, we'll be expecting you tomorrow at 9 o'clock. And I said, yes, I'll be here. And these are some of the things that Nigerians and the common man in the state should be expecting. Unfortunately, the state is now becoming the China of Nigeria. Not because it's my state, but you can see construction, reconstruction everywhere. And we are hoping that this will lay a very solid foundation for whoever is coming in to lead, to drive leadership of Gombe State.
Sir, just one piece of which I feel is very, very crucial. They say all work and no play make Jack a dull boy. We'll be talking about just reforms against the civil servant and public service. We've hardly taught anything in favor of them. In case of victimization and grievance, does the civil servant, do you have any way or does he have any hope on leaning on you? That is one. And if it is like that, how do you synergize with the various government? You have a contact person here, because if I agree with my civil service commissioner in the state and the rest, I can't go through them. I need to have a point of contacting you directly.
Well, thank you very much. Everything that we're doing is centered on the civil servant. Use of IPPIS, I don't know if my host was here 20 years ago. 20 years ago, you have to go to the pay office, you look for your check, you take it to the bank. Bank will give you 3 days or 4 days before you get your salary. Today, the system pays your salary directly. Right. Sometimes even before 25th, your salary is, you just receive an alert. That makes life easy for you. We are looking at that pillar one, is looking at making the office comfortable for you as a civil servant. Good electricity, chairs, water, good toilets, everything to be good for you. Pillar 4 is centered entirely on the civil service. The welfare of the staff, rules, regulations guiding the operations of the service, and that is why we revise the public service rule. And all the good things that have been accepted into that are coming to the states and the local governments. So whatever the service is doing, the civil servant is at the center. Let me give you an example. When we did the monetization policy, and we sold, you know Abuja very well.
Yes, sir.
We sold the houses accommodating staff of Radio Nigeria and FS and NTA in Area 11, which is very close to the office. The thinking then, I think, was for you to walk from your house to the studio, cast your news, do your program, and walk back. Now we have sold these houses, and we have seen that Abuja is expanding very fast. So he's coming for this show, and he's staying in Abaji, or Gwagwalada, or Kefi, or Akonga, or Suleja, or Mina. So it will take him 3-4 hours to get to the office, and that is not possible for him to cover and be in the office in good time. You find a lot of them sleeping in their offices. So now we're advising government, we need to revise that and to see that some cadre of civil servants are now provided accommodation very close to their workstations, so that there will be more efficiency and we'll take care of them. And welfare is an issue. It has been captured into the national budget. Staff welfare in terms of remuneration, provision of healthcare. The law and what we are driving says for an agency like this must have a staff clinic where people will be checked regularly, and if there are issues, emergency, before you get out to the teaching hospital, there's a clinic.
You didn't touch grievance, and
that's one. Now, what is grievance? The system has been crafted in such a way to address all issues that concerns the welfare, employment, promotion of public servants. But we are aware of problems that come up either because of
victimization,
selfishness, either by the complainant or staff representing government. We have the Public Complaints Commission at the federal level. We have the Code of Conduct Bureau. We have the Federal Civil Service Commission. We have the Office of Head of Civil Service of the Federation. And we have the Office of Secretary to the Government of the Federation. These agencies are set up to manage human capital, to address their problems and challenges. And where those problems include sabotage, marginalization, sectionalism, and all, they will be addressed. The good news is we are going paperless, we are going digital, so the space for marginalization is narrowing in this space. And your KPI determines your work. He's supposed to be a host, supposed to be here at 6 o'clock. And by 7 o'clock, he's not here. What happens? There's a vacuum. He has failed. Because automatically the system will realize that he is not here at 7, so this interview couldn't take place. So I think all these issues will be addressed as the system is growing.
Viewers, we have been with Alhaji Dr. Ibrahim Dazuki Arabi, Director General Bureau of Public Service Reform. It is Abuja. He has successfully done justice to most of our questions that we have put across. We will right back in the jiffy and we will open our line for viewers that want to contribute and make comments or ask a question. You have just 2, 3, 4 minutes to make that. Stand by. We'll be going for a 1 minute break. Welcome back to the program. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Gombe. Viewers, very sorry, calls were earlier coming on. We couldn't pick that because we haven't yet exhausted the subject matter we intend the general public to get to know. But this is your time. You can now call us on 08131293760, or you can text us to 080-36787-226. That is if you want to be part of the program. Alhaji Dr. Ibrahim Dazuki Arabi, Director General, Bureau of Public Service Reform, is here to do justice to your contribution or questions or any text you feel like being part of the program. Good morning, Nigeria. Sir, You said you have succeeded in making conferences. You have presented papers of different subject matter, some in Nigeria, some abroad, and in different countries. Now, all those topics, moves and drive the same reforms based on the paper presentation, conferences, and seminars. Is it yielding positive result that you can see going through the reform agenda that the present president and governance of GOMBE is working to?
Well, thank you very much. I want to celebrate Nigeria. For the first time, looking at Bureau of Public Service Reforms Abuja, we have what we call continuity. From 2004 to date, no president has come to revise, change, stop all the reforms that we have been driving. What we see is inbuilt or building on what we have done over the years.
And that's a big one.
Yes, and that's a big one for Nigerian politicians and for government. For the first time, we're getting all the states to key into the reform agenda of federal government and looking at one direction, which is how do we improve the life of the common man on the street.
And that is what I've been wanting you to talk about. That is the common man on the street.
Now, the common man on the street should be grateful to us. We are very happy and privileged that God has given us this position to work. We are trying to say, and we have said, that there must be value for all monies expanded by every ministry, department, and agency of government. Through the OGP partnership and agreement, the common man has the right to ask, chairman of my local government, 2 million naira came, what did you use it for? If he is not convinced with the explanation given to him, he can go to court and demand for evidence of what you've done.
Those are part of the grievances I was talking about.
Yes, so proactively, government is opening up, is providing information, and citizens are seeing their money working. 20 years ago, my brother, nobody knows how much comes to Gombe State as federation allocation. But here, the government is saying we have increased IGR by over 500%. And this is the figure coming to us. And before the government speaks here, from Abuja, you know how much has been distributed, how much is going to every state, to every ministry, department, and agency. So there is improved openness, there is improved transparency, and it's just left for the citizens to ask questions, demand for explanation. But we have set up the foundation. We have developed what we call a format or a guideline on how citizens can engage government, ask for questions, ask for explanations on their performance. As a bureau, we're happy with what we've done over the years. And if you ask me, what are the impacts of the work that we've done? With the government financial integrated management system that we introduced, any money released to every ministry is seen by people within and outside. Any monies utilized outside that system or in that system is seen by civil society, development partners, top officials of government. By our work in crafting the Treasury single account, by now the president, wherever he is, will be able to know how much has gone into TSC.
Yeah.
If the Minister of Finance with Accountant General have spent anything, it will show 20 million has been transferred to so-so ministry for so-so activity. Our budget process, which includes the MTF and other process that we do, is monitored, is propelled by the civil society groups. Before, 20 years ago, you never see this. So if you are allocating money to a ministry now, before you ask, can you give us explanation? Now, before the money gets to the ministry, it's already online. People are seeing it. So there is openness in terms of what comes in, what has been utilized, and who is the beneficiary. And that is why you are seeing more activities. People are asking things that they are not privileged to ask before. Now they will ask you. They will ask a governor, Your Excellency, you've been out of your state for 500 days. Where are you? What have you been doing? If he fails to respond, they can take him to court.
Will that immediate clause allow the proceeding to commence in the court?
Of course, they are taking the government to court, not him. And the government now is aware, and governors and everybody, that citizens are now empowered. They have the right. They are asking questions. So because on that, somebody is watching you, you don't have any option than to do it right.
So I would like to draw the curtain. I don't know, maybe you have any last question to ask?
If you could answer it in just few seconds. So I want to know who checks the DG of the Bureau and the Bureau? Who does it represent? The presidency, the Federal Internal Affairs, who oversees the Bureau?
Well, the Bureau is overseen directly by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. Yes, and the Secretary to the Government of the Federation is supported by the National Council of Reforms, and chaired by His Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief.
Thank you very much.
So this last question, Gombe State, where you happen to be originated from.
Yes.
You are now the DG, and you were earlier the director, now the DG, and you said your ambition is to be you said so,
that his initial ambition was to be a PAMSEC and not the DG.
Okay, now what do the people of Gombe State tend to benefit directly from you and your office? That is the people who are only so now that 10 of them.
Well, the first thing I think that brought to Gombe State is Bureau of Public Service State, Gombe State. Bureau of Public Service Reforms Gombe State and the government of Gombe State, working on what we have done, have succeeded in reforming Gombe State public service. The reforms in Gombe State public service is seeing increase in internal revenue generated, increase in openness, increase of benefit to citizens of the state. We just discussed the 3-arm zone, which is an output of reforms. We have witnessed an increase in number of ministries, department, agencies in Gombe State using technology. We have seen a lot of improvements and innovations around health sector, management of health officials, hospitals in Gombe State, which is output of the reforms in line with our collaboration with the state. There is an improvement in the budget cycle of the state, which is an output and a pickup from what we have done. The governor comes on air and speaks to the citizens of the state quarterly. Now, this is in tandem with our work on freedom of information and engagement with the citizens.
And usually lines we are usually open for him to respond.
Yes,
to
which is in line with the open government partnership that BPSR is driving in the states and federal level. So we have succeeded in getting quite a number of development partners to come and work with the state. Because I'm not bringing them directly, I will not say it is me. But that collaboration has brought a lot of benefits to the state. As an agency of government, we are currently running a Northeast program here in Gombe. And we have brought quite a number of our capacity development programs. In December, we brought all directors of reforms at the federal level to Gombe for a 1-week workshop. And we were able to bring secretaries and heads of admin in local governments in Gombe State to participate in that training. The international conferences and workshops that we've done, we have Gombe State virtually participating in every activity of Bureau of Public Service Reforms, and we can see the impact of what has been done. I'm telling you that we are very proud of Gombe State, not because I'm from here. It is one of the few states that have keyed in directly into all the reforms that we said other states have done. They have done it 100%, and we can feel the impact. One of the things we are saying is there should be a synergy between states, local government, private sector, international community in driving reforms and governance. And you can see that the head of this station, the Director General, is coming from outside the service to come and work with the good ones that are within the service to transform the station. And we can see the wonderful work that is happening around this place. And your reach is beyond what people are saying. So when I was discussing with the other team, I said I watch you on the satellite station wherever I am, and even on radio, I listen to that. That means the reforms are working, the state is changing, things are improving, and I will not give myself that credit. But I know if the governor, His Excellency, will be around, he will say, Bureau of Public Service Reforms, thank you for introducing reforms and for hand-holding us to do that. And we're always trying as much as we can to make sure that anything new that is coming on board, this state keys into that, and that is really happening.
That is very good, sir. You have championed our desire at the same time, the state, through putting us on board, especially in all conferences, meetings, and whatever that you have been holding. Kudos to you. I will pray that God will help you and assist you towards executing and projecting the project towards keeping GOMBE at the same time Nigeria at a level where it comes to public service, other sectors of the society that drive to different type of reform that even are yet to be discovered will continue glimmering. Thank you very much, sir. We have been discussing with Alhaji Dr. Ibrahim Dazuki Arabi, that is the Director General Bureau of Public Service Reform. He has successfully answered our questions to the best of his ability. And in fact, we have so much time, he is fully loaded with what we even thought, because we are just babies in that organization. I want to believe the Hausa version of this program will take place after this immediately program winds up. Doctor, thank you very much for your time.
Well, thank you very much. I want to thank you most sincerely for hosting us, but by extension, I want to thank His Excellency the Governor, for the wonderful work he has been doing, for bringing a capable man to lead GMC in the person of the Director General, Dr. Ibrahim Issa, for the wonderful work he has been doing, for giving us this space to showcase ourselves and to showcase the reforms that have taken place or are taking place in Gombe State. And I want to thank you most sincerely too for the wonderful questions you've given us and for the comfortable environment you have given us. My closing message is to you, to us, and to everybody is: the citizen is now enlightened, the citizen is empowered, he knows his rights, he is expecting us to change his life. Every public servant has a responsibility to make sure that he executes his mandates the way they're supposed to be executed. And we have a slogan in our office that says, we will not be happy with our work until we are fully convinced that the work we are doing is changing the life of the common man on the street. That's my closing message.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dan. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. Good morning, Gombe.
Our viewers that stood by us and watched at the program, Good Morning Nigeria, Good Morning Gombe, thank you very much for being part of the program. You can stand by for the Hausa version. My name is Ibrahim Ta.